Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to Convention Chronicles. This is the show where we talk about some of our favorite memories from a lot of the conventions that we have been to in our Comic-Con careers. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and my co-host is my esteemed colleague and good buddy of mine, Jeff is here. Jeff, how are you? Welcome to the show.
Hey everybody, it's been 2 weeks. How is everybody feeling after 2 weeks?
That's a good question. There's probably been a lot of conventions and a lot of events, and we'll get into that later. But also joining us, we have a special guest on Convention Chronicles. First time we've ever done it. We're only a few episodes into this new series, and already people are asking us, can I be on the show? Can I get on there? Fine. You want to nerd out, geek out with us? Why not? Please welcome Brian to the stage. Hello, Brian. How are you?
Hello.
Hey,
thanks for having me on this. It's one of these favorite to talk about conventions.
Yeah. Well,
absolutely.
Glad you're here with us. Now, if you have any questions for us tonight during the course of this broadcast, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to take those from you. And if you're just joining us, don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. We would greatly appreciate that. And boy, I'm getting notifications all over the place. So with that being said, we're going to be talking about celebrity interactions. What that means is we're going to be talking about some of the people that we've had a chance to meet and talk with at their booths, at conventions over the course of our Comic-Con careers. So I'm going to turn things over to my co-host here for just a minute. We're going to talk about three. We've met many of them. We're going to focus on not our top three, but just three favorite celebrity interactions that we've enjoyed within the course of our careers, respectively. So, Jeff, who is the first individual you would like to talk to us about tonight?
You know what? I'm going to go big. I'm going to go with the big one first. Mark Ruffalo. Really, Mark Ruffalo. He was a late addition to New York Comic-Con. I want to say 2017. He was being brought in to be there on Thursday. So New York Comic-Con's, I guess, consistently or traditionally had difficulty selling tickets on Thursdays. So this was one of the first years where they were like, we need a really big guest. So they brought in Mark Ruffalo. And the really cool thing was I had this 10 by 20 canvas that I bought from Target, and it was a black background and the outline of Incredible Hulk in like cutout comic style lettering. And I actually meant to have Stan sign it, but I met Stan earlier that year at AwesomeCon. We all know what happened to Stan, right leading up to New York Comic-Con. So he was getting pretty sick and he wasn't coming around anymore. So I have this huge canvas and I'm looking at it like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this. And then my friend, he says to me, hey, do you still have that canvas? I'm like, yeah. Why? Oh, New York just got Mark Ruffalo. Bring it with you. I'm like, really? So he said, yeah. This was more when I was working more extensively with him as a vendor at his booth. But anyway, excuse me. I bring it with me. He said, hey, there might be a chance that you could jump on a Mark's line and get it signed. I said, okay, that's cool. So this is a little bit of an extended story because it happens over a couple of conventions. So anyway, I get in line. My younger brother's with me. We get up to him. It wasn't a cheap autograph by any means, but we get up to him and I set this big thing in front of him. And he goes, I get to sign that? And I said, yeah. And I had a lime green paint pen so that it would really pop. And there was a corner on the left and a corner on the right of blank black space. So he proceeds to sign on the right side of the canvas, and he puts Hulk smash, Mark Ruffalo. And then I turned to him, and he had a huge line, and I just go, do you mind writing a short quote? He's like, yeah, what do you got? And I go, I'm always angry. And he goes, that's my favorite line. And he did it. So I thought that would be the end of the story. And how cool is that? He was super humble, super nice, super welcoming. You knew as soon as you walk up to this person that if you saw him on the street, he would probably buy you dinner. He was that nice to us, me and my brother. But the story kind of continues. So I took that canvas. I went to AwesomeCon the next year, and Lou Ferrigno was there. And had my little interaction with Lou Ferrigno. I'm pretty sure anybody who's ever been in Lou's line knows what I'm talking about. And I got Lou to sign on the other side in the left corner of the canvas, and it says Hulk smash, Lou Ferrigno signature, and then the Hulk. And the funny thing is I brought this up to Mark Ruffalo again because I happened to be in his line at the following C2E2, and I said, I had Lou sign that canvas because he remembered me from just me mentioning, oh yeah, I was at New York and I had this big canvas for you to sign. He goes, I remember you. I said, oh yeah, I had Lou sign it, and he really wanted to sign it because you signed it and this and that. And he's like, oh, I have a funny story about Lou. I said, really? He's like, yeah, Lou's not very happy with me. I'm looking at him like, what? Why? Why? And then he goes, he didn't like Professor Hulk. So that's my little big story with an A-lister and an Avenger telling me how him following up in the shoes of Lou Ferrigno that not everything that we're doing currently is to the likings of the previous legends who played the character. So I thought that was pretty funny. I thought it was really cool that he remembered me like almost a year and a half later at another convention, and they're both huge conventions, a lot of people in those lines. So for him to remember me meant a lot. And, I think the guy's just a one-of-a-kind type of person and talent, and thought it was really cool to have that. So that's the big one. That's the big one.
Wow, man. That's crazy. Look, the Incredible Hulk show was made in the 70s. The MCU was in the 2000s.
Yeah.
Different times, different audiences, different generations.
Mm-hmm.
So not everything is going to fit. Some things fit, some things don't. You just got to take things with what is known as a grain of salt.
Yep.
So, but dude, Ruffalo,
that's
nice.
Pretty cool one.
That's a nice feather in one's cap, wouldn't you say? You get the OG Hulk, and then you get the new generation Hulk.
Yeah,
so, hey.
Exactly.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. Now I just wish Eric Bana and Edward Norton would turn up again.
Yeah.
Then I can finish it. All four on it.
Yeah, but I don't know if you want. Well, you know what? Yeah, go for all four because you know
all
what?
Four, man. You got to go.
Eric Bana,
the Fab Four, the Incredible Four, so to speak.
Eric did a good job with what he was given, even though the movie around him wasn't all that good. But it wasn't Eric's fault. So
but it was artsy.
Not Eric's fault.
But it was so artsy and angry.
It was great. Yeah, but it was great casting. It's just the movie around him wasn't the best. But that's neither here nor there. So that's a cool story. And if you have a story you want to share with us, if you've had an interaction with a celebrity at conventions, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. With that being said, Brian, who is the first individual that you want to bring up to us when it comes to celebrity interactions? Who's first up on the gauntlet?
Yeah, for me, I'll bring up one of the first celebrities I met at a panel, Hulk Hogan. He appeared at one of the first cons I ever been at. He was doing this special event backstage, Q&A session with Jimmy Hart. So I didn't really have tickets for the meet and greet, but tickets were working that day. So the head person said, "Come on, you could join the slide, see me before the show started." And It was a great panel. He talked about it was Q&A. He talked about his wrestling. He even did a great promo toward the end, like a wrestling promo as a character of Hulk Hogan. That's my first story of it.
Nice.
All right,
Nice.
man. 24-inch pythons. What you gonna do?
Yep.
That's right. What you gonna do? Run wild on you.
I
Anyway,
wouldn't know what to do.
I wouldn't know what to do, brother. Yeah.
I wouldn't know
Anyway,
what to do, brother.
It's don't get me started on my wrestling days. With that being said, thank you for sharing that with us.
No
That's
problem.
great, man. He's definitely on my list. I have yet.
Oh,
to
he's
get-
on your list.
I have not
Wait,
gotten to
I
see
have-
Hogan yet.
You've never met the
I haven't.
Hulkster?
I mean,
I mean, you've met
I-
some
I
Hulks,
was-
but you never met
I
that.
saw him in the ring. I saw him in the ring, in the 90s, but
Back in
I
the
never,
day, yeah.
never up close, personal,
Mhm.
handshake
Meet and
away. That's pretty awesome, Brian. That's a really cool.
Yep.
That's a nice feather in one's cap.
It is.
Yeah, definitely, absolutely.
It is, isn't it? Gosh. Wow. All right. Well, thank you for sharing that with us. Greatly appreciate it. So the first one up for bids on the prices. No, I'm just kidding. So the first celebrity I want to share with you here, just for a moment, if I may, is someone I've looked forward to meeting for a very long time. This was actually I want to say it was my third. Was it my third? Maybe my second or third time meeting this individual. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But this person right here, the OG, right here, ladies and gentlemen.
Okay.
Red Ranger from the North American version of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, because you may or may not know that Power Rangers was adapted from the overseas show known as Super Sentai. And they brought it over to the States. They adapted it, right? Austin St. John played Jason, the original Red Ranger. He also played the Gold Ranger on Power Rangers Zeo in 1996. Boy, that's going back some years.
Okay.
And this is my second or third time meeting him. But now, what was so special about this particular occasion on meeting Austin St. John? By the way, full disclosure, one of the nicest individuals you're ever going to meet at a convention, 100%. So I walked up to his booth, right? And I said, Austin, it's good to see you again. How you doing? How are things going? We were shooting the breeze a little bit. And I mentioned to him, I reminded him, I said, hey, I'm on your street team. Now, for those of you who don't know what a street team is a group of individuals on social media who promote a specific actor or actress's upcoming appearances, and they support them by posting about them on social media and their upcoming Comic-Con appearances so they can meet their fans. That is what a street team does. At the time, I was a member of Austin St. John's street team. And I was in the Facebook group at the time, and I was, helping out as best I could. And I mentioned this to Austin. He was like, wait a minute, you're on my street team? I said, yeah. Because I had to remind him because, this was like a year and a half or so later after I met him the first time. Long lines, a lot of people, a lot of faces coming through the door. And he said, wait a minute, you're in my street team? And he says, hey, so-and-so, give me some of that money back. He doesn't need to pay for this. And I was like, whoa. You don't have to do that. He's like, no. I want to do this. Like you're on my street team. You're supporting me. You're doing all this stuff, man. It's the least I could do. Come on. And I said, all right. So I paid for the selfie. I think I paid for one of the autos. I think I got 2 or 3 autographs, and he only had me pay for one of them. So that was nice. He returns all my money, and then he takes the other item that I was going to have him sign. He actually ended up signing it anyway. I think this was the one he ended up signing for free. It is Day of the Dumpster. The very first episode, the pilot episode of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, with the Red Ranger on the front of it, with him morphing into the Ranger and the dinosaur, and the Red Ranger with the power sword fighting off Goldar, which is on the cover of this VHS tape. And he signed it, 100%. Signed it, signature and Jason right there. Didn't even personalize it. He just did the whole 9. So we took the selfie. This is me and him, and I'm holding the Red Ranger helmet because it's the power. It's Power Rangers. So by the power of Zordon, I have the power. I'm sorry, that's a line from another show that I never watched because it was before my time. So that is Austin St. John, one of the kindest, most awesome-tacular gentlemen you're ever going to meet at a convention. And the other thing I like about this guy is that he works, I think he's on the board of directors, or he works with a charity that helps individuals on the autism spectrum. And I've done in the past, one of my previous jobs was working with people, young adults who are on the autism spectrum. And I have autism myself, so I know what it's like. I'm one of you. And the fact that he does all that makes me like and respect this person as a man even more than I did when I was a kid back in 1993 watching the series on television. Every single day. When the show started, I wanted to be the Red Ranger. Why? Because he was a badass mamma jamma. He carried around a power sword. He commanded a T-Rex, for Pete's sake. And he was the leader of the Rangers, and that's pretty awesome, if I do say so myself. So there you go. That's my first of 3 individuals that I would like to discuss with all of you. For those of you maybe watching or listening to this, this is Convention Chronicles, and our topic for this episode is indeed celebrity interactions. Now, if you've had an interaction with a celebrity that you are proud of and you want to celebrate, drop a like us hot in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If you're watching this live or on the replay, thank you for being here, and do not forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. Back to you, Jeff. Who is individual number 2?
Ooh. All right. Let's talk about Val Kilmer. So I had a few commissions for Val Kilmer at Monster Mania. That weekend, don't do this. Boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, do not do this ever. I was still kind of relatively new to the convention circuit. So growing up in Illinois, a lot of things seemed really far. So I thought to myself, well, everything's so close now. I live in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I can go to Cherry Hill, New Jersey one night, and I'll go up to Terrificon the next night because it's all close. All those states are small, right? Not the best plan. So my poor younger brother got worn out that weekend. But speaking of my brother, he and I were going up to Val Kilmer's little booth they had at Monster Mania. This was before he had a relapse of his throat cancer. So he was in remission for a short time. I don't know if you guys remember the timeline, but obviously he was fighting throat cancer, and then he was told he was in remission. So he went back to doing convention appearances. And I think the one of maybe 2 appearances that he made was that Monster Mania, and then he went and had to continue the treatment again because he came out of remission. So we go up to his booth, and we didn't really understand why it was fully curtained off, all black curtain, so you couldn't look in from walking around on the convention floor. And we found out, well, obviously, because cancer is a nasty disease, and what it does to the body and the recovery and everything. It's not the most, unfortunately, it's not the most pleasant to see, obviously, when you're thinking about, especially a person like Val Kilmer, who's so vibrant and just bigger than life, really. I mean, when you really think about it, Val Kilmer was a good part of the 80s, and a little bit of the 90s, but a lot of the 80s. He was one of the biggest stars at that time. So for me growing up, Val Kilmer was a big one. So we go in, and Val is sitting there, and he looks a lot different because of the cancer and what he's been through. And my brother and I, we've experienced cancer and with family members. I'm sure a lot of you have as well. And unfortunately, we've lost some family members to cancer. And my younger brother, especially, I was a little caught off guard. But my younger brother, he's a bit more of an introvert. So he's a bit more, he's an introvert in his personality, but he's very overt when it comes to his feelings. Like, you can read him pretty well. When we walked in, he kind of held his breath and was very almost a little uneasy, a little unsteady. And the most amazing thing I've seen anybody do, especially when it comes to a horrible disease like cancer, they recognize that, and they lighten the room. And that's exactly what Val did. Val saw my brother get a little clammed up, and he was like, "Hey, come on in, guys." And he was whispering because he was still feeling the effects of everything that he's been through. And he started kind of just talking with us. I said, you know, Val, I grew up with you. You're one of my favorites growing up. Oh, thank you. What do you guys have? And he you know, he liked what we had for him to sign. Unfortunately, that time I didn't have anything for him to sign personally. I was doing consignments. I was going to get out and go up to Terrificon and get that done as well. I was kind of just running around, and all of a sudden it popped in my head. I started laughing about Real Genius, and I started laughing about the popcorn scene. And I said, oh my God, the popcorn scene with you and Real Genius is so funny. Oh yeah, I love doing that. That was so much fun. And then another big goofy comedy from the 80s for me was Top Secret. And I said, oh my God, I've watched Top Secret so many times. Oh my God, you've watched Top Secret? Oh, that's great. I love that movie. That was so much fun. You know, obviously the iconic roles, especially Doc Holliday, is just, you know, you're in awe of somebody who's had such amazing heights in a career. So, you know, that really left an impression on me. So I remember, again, Awesome Con. I think it was Awesome Con. They brought Val in, and this time I was ready for him. So this time I brought a custom canvas of Doc Holliday holding the two guns like this. And I had a custom canvas done of Iceman for Top Gun. And then I found a black teaser poster for Top Secret. And I was all ready for him. I was like, I went in, he remembered me from that little interaction from Monster Mania, and I was like, you inspired me to go out and get a Top Secret poster just for you to sign. So he put, "Are you 18?" and then signed it, which was one of the funniest lines of the movie of Top Secret. Then he did, you can be my wingman anytime on the canvas, and signed it with Iceman. And then the really cool one was, I asked him if he could do, I got two guns for the both of you, and I'll be your Huckleberry lines. He put them both in there. I said, you know what would really look cool if you do it? Can you draw a little word bubble? And he didn't really know what a word bubble was, so I had to kind of demonstrate for him. Unfortunately, this time he was wearing the bandana around the neck to hide the tracheotomy, so he couldn't really communicate, but you could tell he was really trying. He really wanted to have that more of a verbal conversation with me, but he was able to follow everything. He was very, very gracious, and come on in, you know, he waves you in with that Val Kilmer, you know, welcome, come on in, you know. And I thought that was really cool. So yeah, if he comes around again, I got a Batman custom that I gotta have him do. But other than that, man, Val is something special. God bless that guy. So
yeah, you know, I've maybe I don't know if this is true or not, but I think you and I were at the same Awesome Con that year when he was there.
Yeah.
I think we were. I don't know if we bumped into each other, or we knew each other at that point, but you and I met Val on different occasions at Awesome Con that weekend. That's crazy. Because I when I was there at that Awesome Con, and before I turn things over to Brian here for just a moment, I gotta. It's funny you bring that up, because I went over to, this was the second time me seeing Val, because I met him twice. By the way, this isn't part of my stories. By the way, this is a quote unquote bonus behind the scenes story for you.
All right.
So when I met Val the second time, I got an 8x10 that was already there at his, what do you call it, the table that you pick out, you know, before you go into the booth and all that. So I said, hey, I want to have this, you know, personalized, and I want to have him sign it this way. And the woman was like, okay, I'll put it down, and then you go into the room and you do everything.
Yeah.
So he signed the print. It's the locker room scene in Top Gun. And it says, to Ryan, I don't like you because you're dangerous. That's right. I am dangerous. Yeah. So when he signed that, as Ice, with quote unquote, in quotation marks, Iceman, you know, with the line, the whole nine, I'm thinking, that's a good life moment right there. You're
Yeah.
not going to get that anywhere else. So
No.
good on you to have him sign. You could be my wingman anytime. You know, that whole cheesy line at the end. It doesn't matter because it's fun. So that's cool that you met Val Kilmer. I met him twice, and it's been a blast each time. So it was great. It's funny. I beat you on the Batman thing though, because I already had him sign my Batman Forever DVD set, brother. So
Yeah. All right.
I got you, man. I got
You
you
got
on that
me.
one. But anyway, listen, whoever said it was a bloody competition between friends.
I mean, if you want to compete, dude, we can.
Well, you
but-
already won because I've seen your work. It's 1,000 times better than anything I can get on the street. So don't forget to like and share this episode of Convention Chronicles with your closest friends. And our closest friend right now is Brian. So Brian, who is the second individual that you would like to share with us when it comes to interactions with celebrities?
Yeah, this time I'll picture for this. Can you get a picture with them at the convention? But last year I was called in Canada for Kevin Smith, actually.
Ah.
Yeah, he was doing autograph signing, which he had done near a decade. So what happened was I was going to go to his table, but they said, "Oh, you need a ticket to go see him for the autograph ticket." But I didn't have no ticket available, so I asked one of the ushers there if, like, "Hey, can you get me to the line, please, for Kevin? I've been trying to get one earlier, but they didn't have it available." So they said, "Sure, Kevin will let you back into the line." So and plus they had no pictures available for the size, so I had this picture got earlier signed by Jason Mewes, so I was able to get a dual side, and Kevin had that big a line to see him. That it was like towards the end of the convention day, like towards 4:00, and I was able to be one of the last persons in. Nice. And I was able to ask him about the Schmodown, and he said he enjoyed being part of it. And he was able to characterize his autograph as well. That's my story.
Wow,
Nice.
Man, you cheated. I told you to give me 3 names, and I had the 3 pictures here. Now you're going off script and breaking the rules. So
yes.
All right. Is this because I brought up Val? Is that it?
No. It's totally fine. I mean,
I bring up Val Kilmer, and I don't have a picture for that. But yes, the pictures are on my social media. But Brian, you're ruining this for me, man. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
it's fine. You went with
Well,
Kevin Smith.
No. Brian, I mean,
I'll say
Kevin Smith has been doing stuff for over 30 plus years anyway.
Yeah.
You know.
So I was gonna say, like, I didn't want to break the rules, but I actually met Kevin Smith at the Funko de Mayo's gathering at the Stash, and
Did you?
I stood out. I see my younger brother didn't want to go, so I drove by myself.
Man,
all the
your
way out
younger
to
brother
the
didn't
Stash.
want to go. I would have.
He didn't want to go. He didn't want to go. So I was like, all right,
I would have driven up there.
I'll get in the car and just take the drive. It was about a 3-hour drive from Harrisburg. I get there. I was by myself. And I waited outside. I had 4 items. We were only allowed 4 personal items as long as we bought a $20 purchase at the Stash. And let's see, I had the Comic Book Men photo signed by Ming, Mike, and the big guy. What's his name? Brian Johnson. And I needed Kevin on it, and I needed Walt.
Jason?
And Walt was actually at the store. So I finished it. I ended up getting all 5 signatures. But the best part was Kevin, dude, Kevin is a special guy. Like, I walked in there, I was by myself. I made friends with a couple of people who were standing in line with me. We were out there for like 3 or 4 hours. It took a while. And I walked in, and the first thing Kevin did was he looked at me and he goes, "You know, we're going to hug, right?" I'm like, okay. Like, Kevin Smith, again, one of the guys I grew up with. So here I am hugging Kevin Smith and hanging out in the Stash, and he's signing stuff. And I was just like, oh my God, thank you. So, you know, he was super cool, but I wanted to follow the rules. It wasn't at a convention. So I didn't want to bring that one up, but I do have a few stories about non-convention meet and greets.
Save it for the sequel. Anyway,
we'll save it.
Save it for a spin-off series that we may do tomorrow. Who knows? Or not
I
tomorrow.
had like a really long list. I had a long list of like, who's my top 3?
Well, I
It
didn't
was
say you had
hard.
to pick your. I didn't say you had to pick your specific like favorite all-time top.
Yeah.
I just said you could pick 3 of your favorites because it doesn't.
They were these are my 3 so these are 3 of my 3 of my favorites. But
3 of your favorites, yeah.
Yeah, but
That's
you
the
know,
point.
Yeah. But it was a
That's-
long list.
It is a long. Well, we
It's a
all
long
have
list.
long lists of individuals we've had the pleasure of meeting at conventions or outside of conventions, like Kevin
That's right.
Smith.
That's right.
Kevin Smith, you lucky. Never mind. We'll talk about Clerks later. So, where was I going with this? So Brian, what was it? You broke the rules. You went off script.
Yes.
Went with that other guy. Jeff, you shared yours, right? I think you did.
Yeah, you're up,
I
dude.
did.
Okay, it is my turn.
Number
I'm like,
2.
where are we going
Number
with this?
2.
Because there's so many good stories. I can't think of where I am. So,
Yeah.
okay. So, second individual. That's right. Here we are. So, door number 2. Let's talk about that for a second. Let's talk about that. So, for me, the second individual I want to bring up here is someone I've waited, once again, a good amount of time to meet. And there's a line in a movie where this individual makes a cameo appearance. And Owen Wilson takes one look at him and says, whoa,
Ooh.
I would trust your friend Billy Zane. He's a cool dude. He's trying to help you out. And speaking of Billy Zane, you want to talk
Nice.
about ice cold Mr. Ice, like one of the coolest dudes ever in the history of the planet. This guy, let me tell you a story about Billy Zane. So I go up to his booth. This was at Steel City Comic-Con in Monroeville, Pennsylvania. This was at Steel City. And the first picture that I showed you earlier, just to give a quick recap here for those of you just tuning in, Austin St. John and I met at the Great Philadelphia Comic-Con in Oaks, Pennsylvania, where it was at the time. So that was way back when. This was at Steel City. And Steel City has a way of attracting the biggest names on the planet. And Jeff, you know this better than some because Steel City is a hot commodity.
It's crazy.
So, Billy Zane is there. And I walk up to him and I said, Billy, it's good to meet you. Waited a long time for this. I like your performances in XYZ. I really like your performance in The Phantom. I think it's a good movie. I think to a certain degree it's underrated. The Phantom, it's really good. It's a good comic character. I like the comic character and all that stuff. So anyway, I went up there and I gave him this DVD to sign, but it wasn't from Titanic. No. It wasn't from The Phantom. No. It wasn't from anything else. It was from a made-for-TV movie that he did that went on Divida, sometime later. And there was a reality show that was on NBC at the time called Next Action Star. And the two winners, the one winner of that show, and they actually ended up picking a second runner-up who actually, became like a second place individual. So basically what I'm saying is the 2 young people who won that reality show, Next Action Star, went on to star in a made-for-TV movie on NBC that starred Billy Zane, and it was called Bet Your Life. That's the name of the movie. Bet Your Life. Billy Zane was on the DVD cover. He's holding a gun on the DVD cover of this movie. So as soon as he sees my DVD, he's like, "You have this? No way!" Like he couldn't believe it. He was mind blown. You want to know why? Because he says, "Dude, I was in this movie, and even I don't have a copy of this. I don't have a copy." And he says, "This is so cool. Can I take a picture of this and put it on my Instagram?" And I said, Billy, of course, by all means. Go right ahead, man. Yes, I was shocked that he asked me that, but he's like, yes, go ahead, take it. You can take as many pictures as you want. I don't care. So he takes the picture. A few hours later, maybe a day later, I look on my Instagram and it's on his Instagram. It's there. And I'm thinking to myself, I just hit the jackpot because not only do I meet one of the biggest stars in the world, one of the coolest guys that ever walked the face of this earth, but he says to me, "Can I take a picture of your DVD and put it on my Instagram?" Yes, I am in somewhat shape or form. For those of you wondering what I'm getting at here, I became Instagram famous. That doesn't happen very often. It really doesn't. I am a very small fish in a very big pond of fans because we're all fans of different things and different people. And for me to be asked, "Can I take a picture and put it on my," that's one of the biggest honors that I think any fan could get at any kind of a convention, whether you're in the building or outside the building, like, meeting Kevin Smith at a stash house. For comics, for comics, not any of that stuff. That's neither here nor there. But Billy Zane was awesome. It was nice to meet him. He was cool. He was nice. You ever get a chance to meet Billy at a convention, you ask him about something that he's done outside of some of the typical stuff that he's asked about when you go to conventions, he will appreciate that even more. So bet your life. Look it up. It's somewhere. It's on a streaming service, I'm sure. If not, I have a DVD copy of it signed by him. So there you go, guys. Billy Zane.
Right.
Great guy. You should meet him. I think you should. I think both of you should get down to a convention of where he's at and meet the dude. Meet the man.
That's hilarious, dude. I couple of things to take away on that. That's cool. That's cool. Here's something funny. I was just talking to a friend of mine today about her meeting. She's going to meet Billy Zane in California at a convention in California, and I was like, oh man, I really need him to sign a poster for me. And she's like, which one? Demon Knight. Because I already got John Kassir on it, and he started it, so I wouldn't mind adding Billy Zane to it. Now I'm trying to think of whether or not I want to meet him in person or not. Now that you took that takeaway, but I want to point something out to you, Brian, if I may, for a second. You hit on something that has really been a big part of what I do and why I've had the successes I've had with quotes and requests and paints and all that stuff. One of the things I do is I talk about something that I really, really enjoyed from that person's resume or whatever you want to call it, or their credits. And I talk about or their biography as well as but what I do is I always find something that I want them to know why I'm there and why I want that done. The trick is share a story like that, find that obscure thing that other people don't know about, that really gets a guest to be much more willing and welcoming and just themselves more around you than other fans who are standing in line who are just really nervous and want to just say, I love you, and run away. You took an opportunity where you had something that really meant something to you, and obscure, I guess you could use the word obscure for that, and you had it with you, which is even better. When you meet a guest and you bring up something like that, having it with you is huge, because then they're more receptive to any requests that you have for them. So like me talking with Val about Real Genius and what's it called? Top Secret, lesser known movies, still appreciated, but again, it got him very willing and receptive to anything I asked him to do. It's the same thing you did, man. And that's an awesome, awesome story, because that gives you a real something that he'll remember the next time you see him. He'll remember that. And you remember that we're telling these stories right now. So anyway, for number 3, for me, I'm wearing the shirt, and it's he's right here, Mr. James Hahn, who was also Fei Long in a little movie called Big Trouble in Little China. He was the villainous oh man, and now I'm messing up, because I'm looking at the photo and I'm just laughing, because leading up to this interaction of me and Mr. Han, he's a 90-year-old man who has over 400 credits on IMDb, spanning 6 decades, all the way to spaghetti westerns. It was amazing. I had no idea until I looked it up myself. Hundreds of voice acting credits. You recognize him right away as soon as you hear him and see him. And there I am with him, and I was in line, and what he would do, this was at Monster Mania in Cherry Hill. And he was, every so often he would stop the line, because he needed little breaks, obviously, to stand up and move around. He was a 90-year-old man. So he would ask the group of people in the line for different scenes that he could do and act out with either himself or people in line. and I called out 2 girls with green eyes, and two girls, green eyes. Yeah, I like that one. Let's do that one. And I apologize for my impression. That's just something I've always done growing up. He gets 2 girls from the line, and he acts out he even rolls out like he's on the wheelchair, and 2 girls with green eyes. What does it mean? And then he goes into the whole spiel about Gracie Law and Mao Chen, and everybody claps and thank you. And he goes and sits down. He was spry and animated for a 90-year-old man. I was like, my God, I wish I could. I hope I get to be like that in my old age. And then he sits down, and by the time I get to him, I had 7 things for him to sign. And you have 7 things for me to sign? I said, yeah. I had a couple friends send me some things, and I have that. What you saw there was a Mondo soundtrack for Big Trouble in Little China. And he was signing everything exactly labeled and everything else. He got to the soundtrack was for me. He put 2 girls with green eyes. What does it mean? And then signed in Fei Long, and beautiful signature with gold paint, and it looks awesome. And then he turned to me and said, "You got me 7 autographs. You paid 7 autographs." I said, "Yeah. I want you to have this." And he turned around and signed the Seinfeld 8x10, and he put Seinfeld 4 ? And I thought that was really cool. He didn't have to do that. It was a nice little bonus, little gift for me, and it's something I won't forget. It's I mean, the man is I think he's in his mid-90s now. God bless him. He's still active and everything. So, just a Hollywood legend. So icon. It was awesome.
Oof. That's cool that he signed the Seinfeld ball, because I mean, got right. Sorry. That is iconic. It's funny. Yeah. It's hilarious. Yeah. If you go back and you just watch that clip of him yelling out Cartwright, and then George is trying to figure out, was that a phone call for somebody else or was that for me? And he's confused as to what exactly is going on. And at the end of at the end of that scene, he just says, "Of course I'm not Cartwright." It's just go back, watch the scene. Basically, look up Seinfeld restaurant scene, and you'll know what I'm saying. Because all due respect, just look up Seinfeld restaurant scene from season 1 I think it was like season 2. Oh my gosh! So look it up. It's there. You can find it. It's somewhere out there in the interwebs. That's all I'm going to say about that. But dude, that's so cool. That's
agree.
Yeah, that's really special. So, Brian, you've already broken the rules once. Please don't do it again.
Hey, we'll have it this time. Don't worry.
There are no rules. There are no rules.
Hey! This is a show that has rules and regulations. Anyway, Brian, who is the next individual that you want to talk about in terms of celebrity interactions on this episode of Convention Chronicles? And don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. What do you got for us, Brian?
Yeah, I'll go bring up. He no longer with us, the late Paul Rubens. This is my second time meeting him at a convention. First time was in Boston for their Fan Expo. Went to his panel. He said, "Oh, I like the hat. I know it's back to feature." Then I went back to a previous year later. I went to his table and says, "Yes, I remember you. You wore the hat. I remember you." And he was a great individual. Line wasn't that long. We had like 4 people in front of me when meeting him, and he's a great person to talk to. So that's my third story for Paul Rubens.
Dude, glad you're able to meet him before he passed on. Because man, what a crush that was. Man.
Yeah.
Recently too.
I was at that New York.
You were there.
Oh, you were
there?
There.
I met him. I met him myself. He was, quite. He was Pee Wee Herman, dude.
Yes.
It was.
Did he say today's secret word is Comic-Con?
He does say
my interaction was a little awkward with him.
He does do the laugh though.
Okay, well, what was once again? You're breaking the rules as we go along, Jeff. But what was your interaction like with Paul Rubens?
You want that story? Okay.
You said
All
it was
right.
awkward. What
It
do you
was
mean by
it was
awkward?
a bit awkward. It was. So I had a couple of things for him to sign. Somebody sent me one of those porcelain bobbleheads. I don't know if you ever saw these, but they're real fragile. And unfortunately, the feet broke off from the legs, and I had him sign it anyway because the person asked me to do it anyway. It broke in shipment to me, and it was for a friend. And he said, "Oh, I have one of these, and it broke the same way." I said, "Oh, okay, that was interesting." And then I had him sign a couple of other things, but he wasn't signing with Paul Rubens, and I thought that was a little odd. So I asked him, do you mind putting Paul Rubens in there too? And he goes, "You really want that?" I was like, but yeah, you were Pee Wee Herman, but that was the character, but that's your name. That's you. He's like, "Oh, okay." So I didn't realize that was a bit of a faux pas on my part. So it was slightly awkward. So.
That's a bit strange.
Yeah,
Hey, you know what?
He was able to sign Pee Wee Herman and Paul Rubens for me.
Well,
yeah, he was signing your pal Pee Wee Herman, but he wasn't putting Paul Rubens on a lot of the stuff he was signing apparently. And I was one of the few people to ask him. So it was, sorry.
Yeah. Anyway,
sorry.
I mean, I guess he got his bike back. I don't know. But anyway,
he got his bike back. He did.
He got his bike back. So, well, gosh almighty, man, that movie. I remember watching. I mean, we all did. We've all done it. We've all seen that movie. It was. I mean, look how many historical things happened in that movie. It was one of Paul Rubens' first movies he ever did. It was Tim Burton's directorial debut.
Yeah.
Like, you had E.G. Daly long before she ever became the voice of Tommy Pickles on Rugrats.
And he was a rebel too.
Yeah.
Don't forget, he was a rebel.
Right.
Yes,
But we'll get to that. Listen to me. We'll get to that. And then you had all these celebrity. You had a few big name stars in the movie, including Phil Hartman.
Yes.
You had Phil Hartman in there. You had, Cassandra Peterson, who played Elvira, was in it. She was the woman in the biker bar. I say you let me have him first. No. Bottom line is, Paul Rubens, rest in peace. That's number one. Yeah. Number two, if you've never seen Pee-wee's Big Adventure, it is Tim Burton's always been a little, but
it's
movie
out there.
Was
it's out there.
This movie right here.
Okay, let me tell you something about that DVD. Let me tell you something about that DVD real quick. All right, so no, I never met Paul Rubens, and I feel bad that I never got a chance to do so, because otherwise I would have had him sign my DVD that Brian just held up. I have my own copy of it, but anyway, that's a story for another day. So the movie is Tim Burton is just into weird stuff, right? That movie was the birth of Tim Burton as a filmmaker. It really was. And you get to see some of the things that he was playing with. For instance, the large Marge scene in the truck, the nightmare sequence with Pee-wee's bike being torn to bits. By what was this? By
Francis.
Francis, thank you. Francis was tearing it apart. You had all this other weird, crazy stuff going on. But I gotta say, one of the funnier scenes for me was the biker bar, because he's walking in there just trying to make an innocent phone call, and everyone's trying to beat up on him because it's a party. And he's telling them to be quiet, right?
I'm trying to use
the phone. Anybody ever tell you this is the private club of the Satan's helpers? Nobody hit me to that, dude. It's off limits. Anyway, we'll talk more about that later. So about that DVD that you just held up a moment ago, Brian. I'm going to go off the beaten path here because everyone's breaking the rules as we go along. So that DVD, I had the pleasure of meeting alternate universe Dottie, Morgan Fairchild, at a convention, and she signed my Pee-wee's Big Adventure DVD because I walked up to her and I said, "Morgan, first of all, it's great to meet you. Secondly, you don't look a day over 25. And because she does it. She really does it. Like, you take one look at her and you're like, dude, she's got some really good genes or good whatever. But she was very nice, very respectful, loves meeting her fans. And by the way, she was really good friends with Jane Mansfield, a.k.a. Mariska Hargitay's mother.
Okay.
Hence the reason she was able to get a cameo appearance on Law & Order SVU because she was already friends with Mariska because she knew her mom. And she was telling me, oh, yeah, I mean, like, I knew Jane Mansfield back in the day. You know, she and I were friends. We hung out. We did, like, I could tell you stories. And I'm like, really? I was not aware of that. So Morgan Fairchild is a fountain of knowledge. I mean, she knows a lot. She's seen a lot in her career. She's seen a lot. But anyway, I said, listen, I really liked your appearance at Pee-wee's Big Adventure. Would you mind signing this? And she's like, oh, thank you. This is great. Like, she signed it and everything. And I said, listen, I liked your interpretation of, you know, the alternate reality version of Dottie. I just think it was cool. What was it like shooting those scenes with Paul and, you know, James Brolin, you know, as the alternate version of Pee-wee? And she was like, oh, we were laughing so much. We were having so much fun. And Paul Rubens was great. He was fantastic. Nice. I was like,
nice.
Very nice. So it makes you appreciate these little moments that you have at these conventions. And also makes you appreciate Pee-wee's Big Adventure even more, because the fact that they were having so much fun when they were shooting that as like a serious movie drama at the end of the movie there, even though, you know, Paul Rubens is standing behind him at the hotel desk with an alternate voiceover actor. Mr. Herman. Mr. Herman, you have a telephone call at the front desk. You know, it's, you know what I mean, Jeff? It's just, it's weird stuff, but it's so much fun. So anyway.
Yeah.
Great stories, guys. Well, guess what? I think it's time for me to go to door number 3, right? Is that where we are now in the script? Okay, so here it is. This is another story where it ends with me and the person who's going to be in the picture with me in just a moment here. We became Instagram famous. So let's talk about this for a minute. Okay. So this was at Awesome Con earlier this year, 2023. In Washington, D.C., our nation's capital, Awesome Con, one of the biggest shows on the planet. Jeff, you know what I'm talking about.
Yep.
So I've been to this show a couple times, and this was the first time I've been there in a long time, or at least for a little while. And this is my friend Stephanie, who's in the picture with me here. Now, this is a screenshot of a picture of Stephanie, my friend, and I, taken by James Arnold Taylor. Now, James Arnold Taylor is famous for being the voiceover actor of Obi-Wan Kenobi in the hit television series Star Wars: The Clone Wars. Okay? Now, all 3 actors were at the convention that weekend. And I'm talking about Matt Lanter, who was Anakin Skywalker. I'm talking about Ashley Eckstein, who was the voice of Ahsoka Tano in The Clone Wars. All 3 actors were in the building. And my friend Stephanie was looking to meet Matt and James and Ashley again, because we have already met Ashley that one time at Fan Expo Philadelphia. Jeff, you were there for that.
Yep.
And we went up to James's booth, and I'm helping my friend Stephanie out with some of her belongings and, you know, helping her, you know, because she's nervous, right? She's nervous. And I'm coaching her through it. I'm like, it's going to be fine. You know, just tell him, you know, how big of a fan you are and blah, blah, blah. You know, just take it easy. You're going to be fine. So we go up to James's booth. He's signing the stuff that Stephanie, you know, wants him to sign. And, you know, James is hearing all 3 of us are having this discussion about how much we like, you know, Star Wars and how much it means to us and how much it meant to Stephanie as a person and all that stuff. So because she shared how much the characters in the story meant so much to her, to James Arnold Taylor, he said, look, I really like the story. I really like both of you sharing this with me. Do you mind if I take a picture of you guys and post it on my Instagram? And we said, no, we don't mind. Stephanie, do you? And she's like, no, we don't mind. So he takes a picture of just the 2 of us. Wish it was the 3 of us. That would have been nice, James, but I understand. So James takes this picture with his phone, and he posts it on social media the next morning. And it says, and I don't know if you can see the caption there, but I'm going to read it for those of you who are watching or listening to this. It says, another great day at Awesome Con. Many Jedi today coming by to say hello there. And pick number 4, look closely and see if you can see what's wrong with this picture. Now, granted, we're not pick number 4 in this scenario. We're not the one where it says, hey, take a look and see what's wrong with this picture. You know, we're not that. We're not that. Well, we are in the running here. Do you see what I'm saying? We're like picture 2, 3, or 6, whatever it was. And when I see this picture, I'm thinking, okay, this guy was not just really nice. This is like certifiably nice. So this is another occasion, ladies and gentlemen, where yours truly and my good friend Stephanie became Instagram famous because of a kind gentleman, a very kind gentleman, by the name of James Arnold Taylor, one of the biggest names in voice acting today. So if you've never heard of the guy, if you don't know who he is, what he's done, how long his resume is, look him up on IMDb, look up his podcast. He does a podcast every week. It's available on all major streaming platforms where you can get your podcasts, of course. And I think he even wrote a book. I mean, he's written a book or two here and there. I mean, this guy has done so much for his fans. And the best thing about this is James Arnold Taylor, Matt Lanter, Ashley Eckstein, all three are Star Wars alumni, 100%. They are probably three of, if not the three nicest, and I mean certifiably nicest individuals I've ever met at a convention in my entire career. You want to know why? Because these are three individuals, and there are others out there too. I'm not discounting the stories that we've heard tonight from both Brian and Jeff respectively, but these are people that care deeply about the fans, and they love the fans. They want what's best for their fans. They want their fans to succeed in every area of their lives. And for a celebrity to take that much time and speak to Steffi and I, as well as the other fans who were in that line respectively, for minutes at a time, that shows you that certain celebrities in this business actually have a heart and a soul, and that they care about what goes on outside the studio doors. So my hats are off to James Arnold Taylor, who, once again, took that particular photograph that you saw there in the image. Matt Lanter, who I had a good conversation with alongside Stephanie and I. We had a great conversation with him. And Ashley Eckstein gives all her fans hugs. So I can't say no to that when it's OG Ahsoka Tano giving you a hug. So if you ever get a chance to meet either one of those three individuals, or if all three of them are there, I don't care if you have billions of dollars in your pocket or 20 cents. You go up to that booth, and I guarantee you're going to have an experience that's going to last you a lifetime. So those are my three of my favorites. Not my all-time favorites, but certainly three that are up there in the upper echelon of greatness. So I hope you who are watching or listening to this have learned something. You have enjoyed this episode of Convention Chronicles. This has been a great topic, and I think it's fair to say that we may revisit this again somewhere down the line in the history of this new series, which is called Convention Chronicles. So I want to say thank you to both Brian and Jeff for being here on this episode. This was a lot of fun, guys. I got to tell you.
Oh yeah. I mean,
I agree.
It was a good time, man. Yeah, thanks, Brian. Thanks for jumping in and being part of the mix. You did really well. That was cool.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of blew us out of the water with meeting Pee Wee Herman before he passed away.
Hulk Hogan.
And Hulk Hogan. He didn't even get the door number 3 that he sent me.
Yeah, the other one was the Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. Share one more story.
Oh, whoa.
Visit Niagara Falls. It was first only appearances in Canada. I decided to meet him because I grew up watching him on Nightwire, even American Got Talent as well. So so I decided, can I get a picture with you? I read your autographs and said, sure, to take a quick selfie. We did.
Look at this guy.
He's putting all of us to shame. That's the problem.
That's a handsome guy, Brian. You know,
it is the Hoff. Yep. You mentioned this a moment ago. I want to clarify something here. Brian, did you watch reruns, or were you actually there when the episodes originally aired of Knight Rider?
Reruns.
Okay, because I was going to say you don't look that old.
Nope.
I mean, I'm ancient compared to everybody else, but even I don't remember watching episodes of Knight Rider because I wasn't there. Jeff, you were there. You watched.
I watched a few with my dad when I was little. Barely remember, but yes, I do have a Knight Rider car waiting for Hasselhoff to be the dual signature after having William Daniels sign it. So I got to get him. Yeah, I got to get the Hoff on there, and that one's done. So,
have you met William Daniels?
Yes, I did.
You did meet Kit. Wow.
I did.
Hello, Michael. Well.
Yep. Mr. Feeney.
Both of you. Yeah, Mr. Feeney. Mr. Feeney. Anyway, that's a story for another day entirely. No, I've not met William Daniels, but if I did, I would have him sign my Knight Rider DVD.
Yes.
Because Knight Rider is freaking awesome. I just watched that show a month or so ago. I watched like a best of version of it, like the 8 episodes that come on a DVD set. And of course, I got the 2000 movie that was like the Knight Rider 2000 that was like a sequel to the series after it got canned. So unceremoniously, I might add. The movie was fine. The movie's fine. Like, it wraps up everything for the most part. But then again, it does leave the door open.
Yeah.
To a degree. But still, I digress. So... Anyway, Knight Rider's a cool show. If you've never seen it, look it up. Absolutely. That show, man, I'm telling you, shows that were made hundreds of years ago before I was even born, in the 70s and the 80s, man, those were some good shows.
Yeah.
Those were some good shows,
Great
man.
theme songs as well.
I had a spoiled childhood, man. I had a spoiled childhood.
Of course you did, because you saw everything before I did, you son of a...
Well, I mean, I was 1980, dude. I mean, I remember...
Dude, you were there for all of the 80s.
I was born in 1980.
You were there for all of it, and I didn't get to see any of it.
Yeah, like, I remember stuff probably starting around 84, 85. Like, right, well, I saw Back to the Future in the
theaters.
I did, Back to the Future.
Okay, did you see Terminator in the theater?
Yes.
Batman.
Okay, Batman? I gotta ask. You saw Tim Burton's Batman?
I did.
Did you see it opening night though? Opening weekend? Opening weekend or
no,
a few weeks after it had already
you know what's funny? Back then, because we didn't have the internet, you didn't really have to go right away. This is really funny that you brought this up. There are only 2 movies. Yeah. 2 movies I remember having spoiled for me before I even had it to go in. 2 movies. You ready? Are you ready? 2 movies that got spoiled for me because back then there was no internet to have spoilers. No internet. So a lot of times, you know, you go see the movie. Oh, you got to go see it, and that was it. Nobody really knew what a spoiler was until, of course, years later. But 2 movies that got spoiled for me were Titanic and Jurassic Park. They were so spoiled for me that I didn't even want to see them. I still haven't seen them. I've seen bits and pieces, but I've seen bits and pieces, but I've heard so much about it. I'm just like, that's it. And like, especially Titanic, because this is the best part. I had this amazing social studies teacher when I was a senior in high school, right? And Titanic had just come out maybe 6 months before, 97. And Mr. Murray was my teacher, and he was also my football coach my freshman year. So he was my freshman football coach, and then I had him for street law. And he came in one day, he was all fired up, and he must have gone to the movie theater the week before, and he's like, "You girls, I am so sick of seeing a group of you girls going in to watch the Titanic and cry your eyes out because you know what's going to happen." And I just go, "The boat sinks?" Exactly. The boat sinks. They all die. That's it. Why are you going to this movie 6, 7, 8, 10 times in packs just to cry? I was like, oh, I guess I don't need to see that movie. So,
you know,
you brought up Billy Zane too, so I was just cracking up.
He was in it. He was in it. But
I know he was.
He was in it. But here's the thing. Well, first of all, you were, Brian. I know you asked this question a moment ago. I'm pretty sure the answer is no. You weren't there to see Empire Strikes Back, Jeff.
No.
You weren't there for that.
I was old enough to see it when it first came out on VHS.
Okay, but did you see Return of the Jedi in '83?
I saw. So I had a family friend, and he decided he was going to be the one to introduce me to Star Wars. Right? I was probably 4 or 5, and my older brother probably 7 or 8. He was with me, and our friend Keith sat us down. This is the greatest movie you're ever going to see, and you're going to watch all 3 in a row, and you're going to love it. I just remember falling asleep, dude. I'll own up to it. I did. I was like 5.
But Have you sat down and watched these now? Have you watched
Of course.
Okay, because I was going to say, if you haven't seen the trilogy by now, I don't know if we could be friends. Look at this.
I mean, it's the wars, dude. I went to see the re-releases with my younger brother.
There you go.
So I took him to that. And then I remember one of the first movies he ever got to see in the theaters was, I believe, episode 1.
Oh,
and
Phantom Menace.
I think so. I think
that was 99,
him.
Jeff. Phantom Menace was 99, Attack of the Clone was 2002, and then Revenge of the Sith was 05.
He was little, so
was it 99 or 2002?
No, he was born in 88, so maybe it was one of the re-releases, because the re-releases came out before the right. Okay, so that makes sense. So he was little. He not little, but he was in elementary school.
He could understand it in 97.
97 sounds about right, because that would mean that was my senior year, and I went with a friend of mine, and she brought her younger sister, who's the same age as John. So we all went together. Yeah, it was so cute.
Anyway, great stories, man. But listen. With all due respect to two of the biggest films in cinematic history that set the benchmark special effects in terms of Jurassic Park and Titanic. Listen, yeah, we know the boat sinks, everybody dies, no one really lives happily ever after. I mean, unless you count Kate Winslet's character to a degree. But just watch both movies, because all I'm going to say to you, Jeff, is that life
finds a way.
I don't know, man. I'm Italian, dude. We don't cry. We don't cry. Why am I going to watch this movie?
You don't have to cry. I don't cry at this movie. I've seen it
they all
a
get
dozen
emotional.
times.
Not
Listen,
Leo.
I don't cry.
There was plenty of room. There was plenty of room for him to hold on to. She's
door,
selfish.
yes.
She was
on the
selfish.
Door. No, on the door there was, yes, because they actually conducted a scientific experiment on that. What was it called? The TV show that experiments with different things. I can't remember what it was called.
Yeah, but the best thing was what Saturday Night Live did, and he's like, "No, I think I can really hold on. No, you're not going to make it, Jack. You're going to have to die. No, but I think I."
Listen, I don't want to get into a fight here, because I'm not here to fight with anybody. But just watch both movies, and if you don't want to watch both, at the very least, watch Jurassic Park.
If I can find the time, Ryan.
You always have time. You have
time. I wish I had more time. I wish I had more time.
There's
always
never enough
time, Marty.
No. There is enough time for you to sit your behind down and watch Jurassic Park. It just turned 30.
Maybe.
This year. It turned 30, man. That's a big deal.
Maybe. I got to be honest with you. When you threw this subject at me, and you said, "Hey, you got to come up with 3 celebrity interactions."
Yes,
I got to be honest with you.
That was the script.
A lot of the list that I came up with was not at conventions.
Oh, it was outside of conventions.
It was, like I had to go back and look at everything that I've gotten signed and be like, "Oh yeah, that happened. Because
I'm sorry to put so much pressure on my best friend.
There was a lot of pressure. There was a lot of pressure because, to be honest with you, I've had celebrity interactions over the years, and one of the first things that I started doing was I started going to rock concerts when I was 15. And I mean, I have had a lot of interactions with rock bands and rock stars as they were leaving the small show venues that we went to, because in Chicago we had 3 or 4 venues that you could go to, and they were considered house shows, not big tours, okay, not big amphitheaters and all that stuff. So if you were smart, you stand outside for about an hour. The bus is right there, the back door is right there, you stand right there, boom, they come right out. My first interaction, Dave Mustaine.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Dave
That's
Mustaine. Yeah.
Wow.
And it happened a few times. Offspring and Seven Dust and a few other bands. And then
names that are out there.
Yeah. I mean, hey, if you're as old as I am, you'll know who they are.
Back in the day,
I had a great interaction with Mr. Ozzy Osbourne and the rest of Black Sabbath, because they did a Ozzy. I did it. I had one with Ozzy. Oh, that's a funny little story.
Was Sharon there?
No. This was before the Osbournes. So
Way before the show. Way before the show.
I don't know. Do you guys remember Ozfest? Were you guys around for Ozfest?
Barely, yeah.
No.
Okay.
I've heard of it.
So Sharon was arranging Ozfest.
Yes.
And they did one year in 96 where they only did like 2 locations. And then in 97, that's when they did the countrywide tour of Ozfest. And for the headlining, it was the full reunion of Black Sabbath. And it was such a big hit that they followed it up with that double live Black Sabbath CD. If you remember, it was a black cover. They did a CD release party at Sam Goody, or no, not Sam Goody. One of those old CD shops.
I remember.
And we went. My brother actually stood in line, and I joined him after football practice. It was my senior year, and I got to meet Ozzy, Geezer, Tony, and I'm drawing a blank on the fourth. Why am I drawing a blank on the fourth? But all of them were sitting in this huge table, like above us, right? And they gave us all you had to do was buy the CD, and you walk through the line. It was like a processing center, right? Where here it goes to him and him down the line. And I just remember, am I allowed to curse?
Yeah, not too much, but go ahead.
This was straight out of Ozzy's mouth. I got to hear Ozzy curse in person. He turned to Geezer Butler and his hand was like this because he was cramping.
Carpal tunnel syndrome. I believe they call that carpal tunnel.
He turned to Tony Iommi and he just goes, "I fucking hate this shit."
Well, I mean, look, you're a celebrity who signed up for this thing, so you knew you were going to be signing how many was it? Tens of thousands of CDs.
Oh my god! I can only imagine how famous Monster Fest is going to go. He's going to be pissed by the end of the day, no doubt. Oh yeah, he does. He'll be like this the whole time.
He's going to have to build himself into nothing but a claw. Criminy. Anyway,
but yeah, it was really easy to meet rock stars back then because.
Too bad I didn't have access to that.
Well, I'm a little older than you, dude.
I'll tell you what. You know what would have been cool? I don't know if you did this back in the day in the 90s, but there was this little band in the 90s called Crucial Taunt, led by Tia Career from Wayne's World. If Tia and her crew did a tour, like, even though it's in a movie, like if their band actually did a tour and you were there and not me, I probably would have paid you even more. So,
she didn't go on tour, but I did meet Alice Cooper,
which is cool.
Yes,
I was not aware of that.
Well, I did meet Tia at convention.
We're not worthy.
Yeah, and then he's like holding out his hand for them to kiss it at the end of that scene. Do you remember that? It's real funny. Like, yeah, we're done. Yeah. Well, listen, we can talk about rock stars and other celebrity interactions we've had all day long, but listen, we can save that for another.
Yeah, and the other big one is wrestlers. The wrestlers are always fun to meet, and again, a lot of those were like indie shows or there you go.
I've met my fair share.
So yeah,
believe me, we've all been there. I mean, most of us have anyway. If you haven't met a wrestler yet at a convention, hey, maybe if you watch pro wrestling or maybe watch classic clips on the interwebs and you like that particular superstar and they're doing a convention near your residence or wherever you are, feel free to go and meet them because some of them are cool. Who knows? You never know who you may bump into.
They love the fans. The wrestlers love the fans.
Yeah.
Probably the best. My favorite was meeting Roddy Piper. So,
Hot Rod.
Oh, yeah.
Once again.
He was awesome. He was awesome.
Probably Razor Ramon and Carol Dash called.
Razor. Scott Hall was on my list, but he was at an indie show when I first met him. So that,
we at New York Comic Con.
That was great
that year. So.
Oh yeah. Jake.
I would have liked to have met him before Scott Hall passed away.
Jake Roberts is a good one also.
Jake Roberts is fantastic. DDP is wonderful.
Oh, I met him too.
Awesome
yeah, DDP's a cool dude, man. Dude, he actually let me hold the championship belts. Like I was the world champion for 2.5 seconds, and we made the diamond cutter sign in the selfie. Which once again, you can find this on our social media. Which, speaking of which, this has been so much fun. We're going to revisit this topic again real soon on Convention Chronicles. I want to thank both of our panelists for being here, my co-host and my good friend known as Jeff. Jeff, where can the good people in the interwebs follow you on social media and everything that you have coming up? What do you got, big guy?
All right, so a couple of things going on. You can find my business page at Iconic Autographs and Inscriptions. We are actually coordinating a 3-show weekend during New York Comic Con weekend in October, where I'm going to have a team with me at New York. I'm going to have a separate team at Famous Monster Fest in Valley Forge, and then I'm going to have another team at Monster Mania down in Hunt Valley. And we're all coordinating so that we can accommodate all of the requests of the consignments that are coming in. I've been posting in the Facebook group, so if you see my posts, please get a hold of me, and I'll arrange everything for you. We'll get you all set up. Mention that you saw this video, and I won't add the extra charge for a full-size poster. It'll be $20 flat for anything you send to us, and we'll take care of you. For those 3 shows, we're also going to be we're planning Rhode Island Comic Con. We're planning Hallmark Christmas show, possibly Ocean City, Maryland, and the following Monster Mania as well with the Scream cast. So we've got all of that going on. That's on the calendar for the business. On my personal side, if you're looking for me personally, Icon722 at is my handle on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, and same thing with Iconic Autographs and Inscriptions. Type that in. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Thank you for tuning in.
Yeah, it's been fun having you. It's been fun having you. Let's give a hand to our guest, on our first-time guest, special guest on an episode of Convention Chronicles. Brian, where can the good people of the interwebs follow you on social media?
First off, thanks for having me on the show. It's a lot of fun to talk about different interactions.
Yeah.
Plugs, I do Trivia Most Spaces, Lifestyle Trivia. I appear on the Pierce Code Network, which I'll be there tomorrow night for their A to Z Actors Draft. Movie Here Network I appear on. I know Ryan's been on for Senior Trivia. He's the former champion of that show. And I'll be there for the animation chat on Sunday.
Wow, you're a busy guy. Jeez. You guys got way too many irons in the fire, but we do appreciate Brian for being a special guest on this episode of Convention Chronicles. My name is Ryan of Nerd Culture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Also follow us across all forms of social media at It's Nerd Culture and at Nerd Culture Channel. All the links to where you can follow myself and our guests from this episode are located within the description below of this video, of this episode. And also, this has been a lot of fun. If you have a specific topic that you want us to discuss on Convention Chronicles in the future, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Send us a DM on our social media channels. We'd be more than happy to respond to you there and hear what you have to say. We do these shows because we love them. We do them because we like our interactions with you, our incredible subscribers. Also, I want to let you know that when we get to 1,000 subscribers, which we are this close to hitting, we are going to throw a great big live stream celebration where we're going to have returning guests, some special guests. Maybe Brian will be on with us again. We're going to have special giveaways for you, our incredible subscribers. So tell all your friends about us, because if they tell their friends and they tell their friends and so on and so on and so on, you know how these things go. Indie supports indie. So let's support each other while we're at it. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Ring that bell to get notified when our videos go up. Lots of great shows and events coming your way very soon here on our social media channels, so make sure you're following us there. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe. And remember, life is better when going to comic book conventions or comic cons with friends and family. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
All right, I'm a little tired, I'm a little wired, and I think I deserve a little appreciation.